2 here at the town hall at 6 p.m. Before we start, I'd just like to congratulate the 2 candidates for getting elected. You're going for re-election, and you, as a new elector, like whatever you want to call it, anyway. So welcome to here.
Thank you.
And hopefully we'll have a good year, and you'll enjoy it.
Good. Good. Okay, well.
So we have a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. The next order of business is the minutes of Tuesday, February 22nd. Do you have any additions or corrections for the minutes as presented? If not, somebody make a motion to approve the February 22nd minutes.
So moved.
Who seconded? John seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And now we have the organizational meeting on March 1st. Do we have any additions or corrections to those minutes as presented? If not, a motion to accept the minutes of March 1st, which is the organizational meeting. Want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second, anybody second it?
Second.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Highway report. Danny, I talked with Danny, and he's not coming today, but he talked to Bill, so.
Yeah, okay, first of all, on the FEMA meetings, we did not have a meeting today. Catherine Sullivan from FEMA is waiting for Michelle to finish up some things, hopefully by Monday of next week. And then once that is done, then we can go into the mitigation discussions on the culverts that we're trying to replace by mitigation. With regard to the culvert on Ledge Road that should be replaced ordinarily by FEMA, I talked to Ron Bell today and sent him an email. He says by Thursday, he hopes to have the hydraulic, he hopes to visit the site tomorrow and have the hydraulics and have the hydrology by Thursday. Let's hope that that gets done, the sooner the better. With regard to excess waste permits that I need action on, I have Chavez Excavation, St. Pierre Sand and Gravel, Velco, the power company, they haul mostly power equipment and telephone poles all around, and Cardinal Logistics have all asked for excess waste permits, but I need a motion to issue them and to allow me to issue them.
So moved.
Second. Any other discussion?
What's the final logistics? Just
Do you have something?
They have just all sorts of shipping. They just call themselves Cardinal Logistics.
wondering. Right, thanks.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
And then with regard to the truck bid status for the new, or for a new replacement truck, I sent a very short notice to Vermont Journal today that will be printed in the paper next Wednesday. The bid is the bid package that will go out is all set to go out. I just need the email addresses from Danny to send them out to the bidders. So the idea is we'll send it to specific people, but it'll also be published in the newspaper for anybody else to see. And the notice in the newspaper simply says, we need bids. If you want to know what it is we're looking for, call me or Danny and we will send you the specifics so that we don't spend $500 on an ad that we don't need to, because we hardly ever get anything out of the newspaper anyway on the trucks anyway. We get it on some others. So that's it. As far as the work they are doing, they're going to try to when it gets a little bit cool at night, if it's gonna freeze at night, they're gonna try to get rid of as many ruts as they can when it starts to harden. That may mean that Danny is either working into the evening, if it's gonna get cold enough early enough, or working in the early morning, they're not working regular hours, but just trying to get at it when it is amenable to being put back together. And so that's one of the things they want to work on. And the other thing is other than that, they've been trying to keep people from thinking their Volkswagen's completely gone. And then finally, if they get through all that, they want to continue to cut the trees on Stage Road up toward the end, toward the end of the road. There's the ditch is almost non-existent, and they're trying to reestablish that. We sent notice to all the homeowners from near from the end down to near to the Jennings died.
Henry Mosley's
Yeah.
house.
Mosley's house. So all of those, all the way down to Mosley's house, and I haven't had any. That was a month ago that we sent notice that we're going to do it, and I haven't heard any complaints about it. And I don't think there would be, because if you've been on that road, you know it needs to be drained, and it isn't draining now. So a lot of really bad parts. So that's what they're working on, and I think that's it for the report from Dan.
Okay. Clerk and treasurer, I don't think there is anything.
The only thing I have on them is that I have for you, and I gave each one of you this letter. It's on the letterhead. I have it here. This is the one I'd like everybody to sign, Rich.
Okay.
If you could pass that around, if
Yep.
everybody agrees. And that is authorizing me to be the person who administers and does have a project manager for that project. And I do want to just lightly discuss that. It is about $11,000 in total cost. There is roughly $8,000 in grant and $8,000 in grant. $2,900 is the amount that Patrick Cooperman would have to pay. Patrick and I have talked to Patrick today. He would like to discuss this whole project at the next meeting with regard to perhaps participation with the town in his share, and anything else with regard to repair of Hinkley Road in that area along Dottie's house and Patrick Cooperman's house. I think that would be a good discussion to have at that time. And so that's where that stands. We don't have to make a final decision on anything with regard to the grant until it comes back. And I don't know how quick the turnaround is, but I would figure that it would be up for discussion in any case at the 21st. Hopefully having the grant agreement in hand so that you can see the grant agreement and we can go from there. But that's where it stands. So Patrick is expecting to be able to discuss it then, and Dottie may have some discussion on that too if she wants and everything. So I think we should set it for the hearing.
Does everybody know what we're talking about? The creek, the Hinkley Brook where it runs to?
I know it, but I don't know the details, what's going on up there.
Well, what's happened is that with the flood in July, or whatever we want to call it, it's taken out, if you want to go there, there's these rock walls that are,
Okay.
and the water runs between them.
Yep.
And obviously it eroded, so the rocks have fallen in. So there's dirt there now, and that has to be repaired.
Oh.
Okay. They came down to look at it, and as according to what Bill has indicated to us, is that the only one who could get grant money was Patrick. Dottie can't for whatever reason. I don't know why.
I'll explain that.
They don't, maybe you know better than I do. But anyway, so they're gonna give some money to fix a portion of it, not the whole thing.
So it's not in the right of way? It's not in the right of way, what the?
I don't know, I don't
No,
know.
I don't think it's the right way.
I don't think it's that.
No, there's no right of way. It's
No,
not,
it's back
it's in the
behind
creek.
his house.
Oh, okay, so it's on
It's
private.
Dottie's house.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Okay, what NICS by law is allowed to do is to make repairs of eroded damage to stop the erosion if it's threatening a structure. The only, they say, their finding was, in the 8 sites they looked at, the only place that a structure is being threatened by the damage done to these walls and other places all over town that we looked at. The only place that a structure is threatened to fit their definition, it has to be so close to the area, et cetera, is Patrick's. And that's the only one they will do. So it isn't a question of arguing with them, it's a question of thanking them for repairing this one spot and then seeing what we can do with the others in that area. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. And I have to say this right up at the top. I'm an interested party because with the hydraulics and hydrology, we change culverts to a bigger size to save our road. And we've done that. And we probably saved 80 or 90 or $100,000 in this last storm of Hinkley Brook Road. Because it could have taken out everything by my house all the way down, a quarter mile like it did last time that I read. That's how much water came down. So we saved spending all that money. But what we are doing is sending more water down the creek that is not, and we're not expanding the walls down that creek. So is there any moral obligation to help those people that are down the street? What I did on my own is did a lot of moving a rock and bringing a rock by hand and protect all around my house. Not on the other side, but all around my house. And so I feel pretty comfortable with what I did by hand at my house. But anybody downstream of any of these creeks and going future, every time you have an H&H, you're gonna get a bigger culvert upstream. And I talked to the state doesn't understand the situation or doesn't know how they would fix it, but they're requiring more and more larger structures and without any mitigation for the people down below. So that's what's happening. So that's why I don't want to get too involved in the discussion when you guys have the discussion myself, because I'm an interested party, maybe in the future, if I suffer something like the damage that Dottie has to the.
Can I ask who's gonna do the work? Do you
Yeah,
have-
it'll be designed by the NRCS. And they will then, the bidding, taking their design, it'll be bid out like we do any other project. We'll handle all the bidding, the awarding of bids, and the project program.
Bill, should we have a discussion with Patrick before we sign this?
I don't think so. No, because in order to get the grant, we need to do this. This is my opinion. We want to get the grant. We can always refuse the grant. So, but the grant, this paperwork's got to get going because we only have.
Yeah, but I just think we ought to have understanding with Patrick as to what's gonna happen before we go into a whole thing of applying for the grant.
Please don't delay the application for the grant. We can always refuse the grant, but if we don't apply, if we're too late applying for it, we're not gonna get it. I mean, and he's already, Mike LaFont already told me that. You've got to do this as soon as possible.
Yeah, I don't see any harm, John, because it doesn't obligate us to do anything other than just to get the grant.
It's just like FEMA grants. If FEMA gives us a grant on Ledge Road and we don't like it, we don't have to take it.
And then we'll have Patrick come in here at the meeting on the 21st. We can discuss the whole thing. put it on the agenda.
So
That's
I
right.
just need to get clarification. So we are fairly confident that we're going to receive an $8,000 grant that we haven't yet applied for.
Yes,
And Patrick is willing to pay the 2,900.
say again?
2,900 would be Patrick's
Yes.
share, and he's willing to do that.
Yes.
Yes,
And when I send this all in, after you sign this, when I send this all in the morning, I'll send you all the complete package. It's only like 11 pages. It isn't as if it's a big one.
okay.
This problem has happened to these properties multiple times.
Oh, yeah, this is not.
And I think I may be an interested party too, because I believe Bill was one of the 8 properties that they came to look at. Bill's property.
Yeah, Bill's was looked at too, no, and next door to him was looked at the people
Yes.
across the creek were looked at. We looked at places out Townsend Road, at the very end of Townsend Road, all of them said, they said no to.
So what am I missing if we apply for the grant, again, there's 8 parties. So 8.
No, no.
Oh, right.
There's only one.
But 8 interested parties that could be.
They've already been rejected.
No, they've all been rejected.
But
There's
if
only
they're-
one party.
Right, but if the 8 parties are somehow connected to all of this, why aren't they getting together and dividing this bill by 8?
Because the reason is that
Oh, I understand, right, but
that's what,
why,
that's.
I think that would be the easiest solution for them.
I know, but this, you're getting the money from the state or the feds, whoever's giving the money.
Then the 8 parties should have a handshake agreement saying in good neighbors, we're gonna all pitch in. Am I missing something?
I think the only part you're missing possibly, Rich, is that it's Patrick's wall that physically needs to be replaced.
Yeah.
It doesn't
So
have
it's just
to-
a wall, there's no
It's a
culvert
wall.
involved?
And if you saw it, the water removed like a whole, either a total or
I'll
partial.
have to,
You know,
okay, yeah.
One of the problems you have, Rich, is it was washed in 2 different places. They're only covering one place.
Okay,
So one place is gonna be the same as it is right now.
and they've had to pay for it to be fixed before.
Right. You need to
But I
look
think
at
that's-
it
Yeah,
so you can understand it for.
yeah,
Patrick
sure,
comes in.
yeah.
So we need a motion, I guess, to sign this. To apply for the grant, I guess. that-
Yeah, to authorize me to be the, all those people in the thing.
I make a motion to authorize Bill to sign the grant application for the project on Hinkley Brook.
Second,
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor? Say aye. Opposed? Rich just signed that and passed it along. Okay, the next item is the legal opinion of the GES and the necessary eligibility. I'm gonna get here, Jack, but we can't talk about it tonight, other than just set the time for an executive session sometime we'd like to do it at 5 o'clock on the 22nd of March.
As I say, right now, I'm the only incumbent member of the board, because everybody else is either new or been elected, and we haven't met, we have meetings on March 10th. So I can't respond to the request. I've sent a note to all the members after the March 10th meeting, see if we'll put that on the agenda and try to get a response to you at that time. I wouldn't mind, because I sent you our response that we get from our council, I wouldn't mind seeing a copy of the response you got from yours. That seems like fair, and these responses are public documents. But beyond that, that's the only request I would have moving this forward, because I think it's important for everybody to see what the cards are that are being laid out on the table. I hope that seems reasonable.
But at some point, we need to have this executive session.
Oh, I completely agree about the executive session. This is it's at least your least, no, and it's also our collective opinion of the advice we get from the agency of ed. And I want to do that, but I would like to either tonight or in the next day or so, get a copy of whatever you have received from the council. So that everybody, so the 2 lawyers can at least see it in advance of the executive session.
I have it, I can send it to you. Basically, it says I'm not giving an opinion.
That's fine, I'll take that.
We won't, but you can. But
You know, at least, it would give the two lawyers and everybody something to talk about.
That's correct.
now.
Okay,
All right,
just let us know when you know, and if you can't do it at 5 o'clock, we'll do it at 5:30, or another day, we'll set
I
the
think we
schedule.
all feel this is a priority and we'll want to get this done. Again, can't speak for the board because they haven't assembled yet, but I'm pretty sure they'll all agree to
I'm
that.
sure.
All right, thanks.
What about the lawyer? Do we need to confirm who the lawyer is for?
Oh,
the
yeah.
board?
And who's your attorney?
Pietro Lynn is our lawyer. We've also been advised by Larry Slayson from time to time. But on this matter, because it's an SU matter, I would assume it would be, also, I don't know if you guys have dealt with Larry or not, so.
Larry's the town attorney at the moment.
Yeah, then best that we stick with Pietro and not put Larry's foot.
So where is he out of, you know? With all of
He's
this?
down at Burlington. He would probably, you would probably patch in electronically.
No, so he's not local, I mean, he's not,
He's from New Pain, but he's.
yeah, but I mean, his office is in Burlington, okay, thank you. Committee reports, cemetery, nothing new. Highway,
Nothing new.
okay. Parks, the only thing, that is that the logging has been completed and they're gonna get the wood out when they can, and that's about it. Other thing, I did talk to Mike Fields, and they did apply for the second grant,
Oh, good.
okay? And, whether they're gonna get it or not is another story, but they did apply, so the application is in the hands of whoever that grantor is. So hopefully we'll get it. That's it. Personnel?
no,
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Tim Morton's, they are done cutting,
Yes, I know that.
they are done dragging. They are not anywhere near
Moving.
done with the park. They're not gonna declare it open to people walking in it, probably, according to Tim Morton this afternoon, till early May. We're now in early March, so in early May, because everything's got to melt, then everything's got to solidify, then they're gonna clean all the trails and make sure nothing is dangerous, then they're gonna open it.
Okay.
And they're not gonna open it, probably be early May. It's not gonna be fast. I've already told the museum that we will not open it until Tim Martin says it should be open, because Tim told me a week ago that it's gonna be a while, and we just can't have people on the trails, because if they get hurt, then we have a problem. So it's probably gonna be early May.
They're gonna put up signs, right?
Pardon me?
They're gonna have the signs, trail closed, park closed.
The trail close signs are gonna remain up till the forester opens.
Okay. All right.
And I can send all that stuff to you guys. I don't know if I passed that on.
You did.
Okay.
Personnel, I think, Bill said you guys were gonna handle this thing,
Yes.
okay?
So,
My feeling, Stan, is that, I don't know, maybe it's not necessary, maybe you guys can discuss it and bring it back to the board, but if we do have a harassment case, God forbid we did, why wouldn't we just call an attorney in VLCT and let them handle it rather than trying to do it as a select board?
I'm not quite understanding your question, Joe.
I said, instead of having something in our personnel policy where the select board will handle a harassment, we just turn it over to the attorney and VSOT and let them deal with it and not let the board get on it.
Oh, I see. So you're saying why, if this training is about turning it over to the select board if we get a case?
Well, that's what I understood.
It's my understanding, and we obviously need to sort out some things. Bill and I had a conversation about that this afternoon when I learned that he had run into a situation where it created a lot more administrative work than we thought, than Kathy and I thought it was going to. We thought it was going to be a simple matter of getting in touch with this person at Passive. They would direct us to a catalog of training programs. We registered, sort of like we registered for the VLCT training, it'd be over. That is not what Bill experienced. So Bill, I suggested Kathy and I just take it back over and we'll work with our consultant from passive VLCT to sort it out. My understanding of the training is that it is a preventive measure. It is to educate us on what the meaning of harassment is, what our actions and behaviors can contribute to someone determining that they have been harassed either on the employment level or the sexual level, and that it is a way of preventing lawsuits rather than handling lawsuits. But I will certainly get clarification. We will both get clarification on that specific question
Okay.
when we get back in touch with Bill.
Okay.
That's a great question.
Building committee?
One heat pumps in. No, it's not working, but everybody's there. The other heat pumps have come in, I imagine, I haven't talked to Brent as soon as they come in. With regard to the elevator, Mike Rodriguez did his work and opened the ceilings in both the basement and first floor so that they can be looked at. James did part of the plumbing by removing that heater that we never ever used in that was to the left of the door downstairs. Just, you'll now see that there's a big hole there where it used to be. But it was never turned on. Been 20 years that Kim can remember, so why it was there, I don't know. And then, with regard to, the most important thing, the electricity, and this is all the pre-bidding out stuff.
So they changed it, they finished the whole project? No,
They didn't finish.
they didn't do it.
No, but I think they want to deal with it. They need to get more information from Senator Cole, okay? And then with regard to, the electricity, Green Mountain Power and, Rick Ham, who is with, Lerner Road, it will be here on Thursday at 10 o'clock if the building committee wants to be here. He's meeting with Green Mountain Power at 10 o'clock. He didn't invite everybody, but he said that if anybody wants to be here, they can. The question is, what does that wire, what does the electricity look like underground? We're a 100 amp building. It needs to be 200 amp, which doesn't mean you simply change it. You have to then bring in more wiring. This wiring to this building goes all the way over to behind is that the Barrett House?
Yes.
There's a transformer behind the Barrett House, so it goes along the road here to just about around the museum and goes straight across the transformers over there. And if it's an underground wire and not in the casing, we have to dig the whole thing up to replace it. You got transformers right here. What he's going to talk to him is, and they're 50 feet away, is that where we should go for the wire and just abandon that whole thing where the electricity comes in now, bring it in this side. And by the way, our power in an emergency through the generator comes from that side anyway. They're already a big wire that runs in, but we'd have to most likely put in a second one. Anyway, they're going to talk about that on Thursday. And again, all of this is in preparation to have it all done so that when you send out the bid for the elevator, everything will be ready for the contractor to put in the elevator, hook it up to electricity, not have to bother with the plumbing, and know what the framing is before they start to work on the plumbing. All this work is preliminary work. That's where we are with the elevator. And again, he's hoping to get the bid out by the end of this month and have the project be done in May and June.
And meanwhile, how are we paying for these things? Bill, are we just paying for them out of our own cash and then we'll be reimbursed by the ARPA?
No, we have 100,000 of ARPA.
Oh, we have it in hand.
And what what we would have to do if they finished all the work in June and didn't give us 30 days to pay, we would have to take some money out of ours until the ARP money, the second
Second.
100,000 comes July 1st.
Okay.
Do you have a question there?
May I ask a question?
Yeah.
Bill, right now, you've got only 100 amp service, which is obviously not enough for this building. I 100% agree you need 200 amp. I don't understand if the power's coming from the transformer over here, what are you proposing? What are you suggesting would be done on the west side of the building? I don't understand that.
Well,
I understand this section,
the power also comes through that manhole that's right out in front of here
yes,
as a branch
yes.
that is, and goes over to these transformers. So it's the same power, it's
Yeah.
just a different branch. And
And
so
where do the transformers go to for that
I think they probably feed
in?
the,
Homestead, right.
The money to feed the church, doesn't it?
well, I don't know that that's gonna be a solution,
Uh-huh.
but it's better than digging 200 feet of ground up to lay another wire, which we would have to do there, because it's not in the tube.
It's not in the tube.
No.
What about the other end? Because most wiring, you can fish from an end that's exposed and get.
Only if it's in the tube.
Everything is underground.
If it's in ground, if it's buried, if it's direct burial, you can't take it out.
You're saying it's in the soil?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm asking a question.
yeah,
Yeah,
direct
just
burial.
a wire in the soil.
Thank you.
It's not in a tube. That's the problem. When they first put it in, okay. When they first put it in, they buried the wire. Then they came back and for some of it, 10 or 11 years later, they put some of it in the tube. Whether this is in a tube or not, no one knows.
Wow.
Who did that work? Who did the work?
I don't know, the foundation, I think, did all that, didn't
I don't.
Maybe
I'm
Stan.
not believing that.
they? Well, yeah, Green Mountain knows, so.
We have all the plans, we have the plans with the tubes, we have the plans without the tubes,
Yeah.
but then we don't have anything marked final.
But Green Mountain knows everything. I mean, they had to approve all the stuff and inspections as well, so. We'll see what happens on Thursday.
Very surprising. Thank you for answering my question.
All this to try to be energy efficient.
I understand. Well, putting in an expensive, powerful elevator and heat pump spot takes electricity, so
Yeah.
of course you have to upgrade it, and
But it-
that's the problem.
But it saves on oil and.
Sure, but we have to rewire the building.
We'll be so happy when people can come up here and we can have all our meetings
You
here.
got it. Wastewater committee, there was the final thing, the insurance policy had to be filed. That was done last week. I'm gonna go check with, Erin and find out now if there's still anything left that we need to do, but we believe, Bill and I believe that they have all the now documents that they need. So I'm assuming that they'll start sometime in the spring to start their wastewater study. So that's where that goes.
Correct.
Other business? No? Okay. Public comment?
Just glad that thanks to Susan for letting me know that you were discussing cover briefly the issue about school. And always glad we dropped by, would be helpful if I can.
Okay. thank
You know, I was just wondering, is it possible to just go ahead and add Jack to the distribution list for all of our agendas? I mean, he wouldn't be necessarily interested in all of them, but if he was on that list, the distribution list you have, Bill, I think of about 30 people or so, you send out the agenda to.
Oh, I can send that to him, yeah.
Yeah,
Put him on the
just
meeting list.
Yeah, I'll be happy to.
You just add him to that mailing
It
list.
costs a lot of money, Jen.
We'll have to work that out.
Ask Dottie what she pays. No, I can put you on the meeting list.
Thanks, that'd
That'd be good.
that would be real helpful.
All right, the next regular meeting here is Monday, March 21st.
No, I think it's on Tuesday, come to think of it, isn't it?
Why? It's a holiday?
First President's.
Okay, go on, we're in March.
Well, a minute ago.
President's Day, President's was in February.
I'm behind, sorry. A minute ago, I heard Bill say that the executive session would be on Oh,
Spiritual.
the 22nd is the Development Review Board.
Yeah, so anyway, so
Okay, the
it's Monday.
24th is the select board meeting,
Right.
but the executive session is going to be before the Development Review.
Well, we
Board
don't know
meeting.
that yet. Jack has got to come up with.
I gotta find out when Pietro, probably when Larry or
Right.
available.
Yeah, and just so you know, not that we need to say that the Development Review Board will be continued from that to a date in April. I don't know the date in April, but it's not gonna be the 22nd.
Okay, I think we just said to Jack that the executive committee would meet on the 22nd.
No, we were saying the 21st.
21st.
I thought.
And this is all best effort, because I
Yeah.
can't.
So it is the
It's
21st.
the 21st, Jack.
Okay.
And then you let us know what, and if we can't, we'll have to have, get a date that we can all agree and meet.
We'll talk,
Yes.
as they say.
Okay, yeah, sorry, I was confused on
I
that.
just want to remind everybody though, that at the 22nd meeting is only appointments for the
21st.
21st, for the appointments for the tree warden and everything else. So if you know of anybody who wants to volunteer or anybody we need to get, please pick the word out. Bill wrote a letter in the Grafton News. I touched on it about volunteerism, so we need volunteers to fill some of these positions, so just keep that in mind.
Do we have a list of those positions?
I was gonna try to get it done today, but I
But Bill sent it out.
I will send out the list and I'll send it out to
So we still have
the meeting people, so you
hog
get.
reeve and fence watcher, are those still things, or you got, what do you have for volunteers?
Well, it's a constable and tree warden and, you know, those kind of things.
Well, the biggest thing is we don't have anybody on the planning commission, and the
No.
planning commission has about 7 or 8 things to do by law. I mean, that they are allowed to do
Yeah.
by law if they just want to do, and it's all the planning.
Yeah.
The sad part about it is that the planning commission basically has not functioned at all in the last year. They don't even have a chair, and they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, and having their regular meeting. So apparently, they're having a difficult time finding people who want to serve on that board, so
Didn't we
hopefully
just
someone.
appoint one on that?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so there's
But-
one person now?
But the two are going to resign or leave, I
I
believe,
see.
at the time, I think.
We're probably gonna need 3 people.
Yeah.
And who, Jet, while we're on the topic, who was elected to the school board?
Okay, I wasn't elected because I wasn't running, but I'm carryover anyway. We have Krista Gay, who's an attorney from Athens, actually attorney from a major New York firm, who is going to be on our board. We have Wynn has been on for a while, and she's an environmental educator. We have me, we have Hardy, we have Lisa Manning, who is an environmental scientist out of Westminster, and David Major, who a lot of people know already, and that's your elementary school board, at least until July. Speaking of volunteers, we're going to need at least one, maybe 2, but at least one additional person probably later this year, because we are anticipating revising our articles and adding folks to replace the Westminster people who will be leaving us. So if you're glad for punishment, you should serve on the planning board and.
As you can see, we need a lot of volunteers. We have a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Opposed? Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Joe, you're always going to get a 5-minute answer to a 30-second question if you ask.
Good, thank you.
That's how it works.
That's okay. We all need volunteers, and I don't know where they're gonna come from, but
Catherine did planning board years ago. She said it was the least boring thing she's ever done in public life. So, God bless anybody that does it. That's real work.
And I don't believe you can serve on the select board and the school board at the same time. At least that's what I was told at one time.
I don't know.
We should find out because, I've talked to both these fine folks about it.
I don't know if we can.
We'll talk to them
I
again.
don't know why you couldn't.
I was told that
Well, Bill, Chad, VLCT has a
I have a list, but
list.
I don't see why you couldn't, it's
Well,
too.
it's also, there's a different municipality. It's not like it used to be where it was the town and the school district. The municipality includes Athens.
This
So,
was years ago.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I've lobbied both these folks for a couple of years off and on to consider, at some point, I'd like to be paroled.
If that's possible, Jack, maybe you'll have 2 volunteers right here.
Kathy?
Conversation,
No,
that conversation has
I'm
occurred,
too old.
I served on
Maybe it's a trade one way, take up your planning board needs to be enforced.